We're packing punchlines today. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 comedy panel show moments. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we've gathered some of the funniest and most memorable moments from British panel shows.
They say of the Acropolis, where the Parthenon is. They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is.
So, if everyone's ready, it's fingers on the buzzers, please. And viewers be warned, there's some bad language ahead. Number 10, The Kittens, 8 out of 10 cats does count down. We've all heard the adage that you should never work with children and animals.
Are you like the Cruella de Vil of cats?
Well, Jimmy Carr discovered this to his cost when he brought kittens onto the set as a distraction for contestants. At first it works a charm, but then the kittens turn the tables on him with hilarious results.
Get back in! No!
And in their bid for freedom, the felines facilitate their escape efforts with remarkable precision. It seems that 8 out of 10 cats prefer not to be cooped up in a basket.
Okay. I've also got RXPCA written down here.
Number 9, Taunting, Piers Morgan, Have I Got News For You? Ian Hislop and Piers Morgan are the best of bitter enemies.
You sort of got rather bollocked by Murdoch, didn't you?
Rather? I got severely bollocked, yeah. Did you?
So, sparks fly from the moment Morgan, then editor of the News of the World, jokes about his questionable journalistic strategies. Later, when Morgan's asked to pick the odd one out, his attempt at a joke backfires spectacularly.
So many words. Because last week Eddie Izzard said everybody roared with laughter, as if it was hilarious. I just thought I'd say.
People like him.
And as hostilities between him and Hislop simmer, Morgan foolishly tries to enlist the audience as an ally.
Why?
Anybody here like it? Do you like him? Anybody actually like it?
It's almost enough to have us feeling sorry for Piers. Almost. Number 8, Freddie's baby photo, A League of Their Own. Following a question about athletes as babies, the audience is treated to various childhood photos of the panellists. And for Freddie Flintoff's turn, there's an immediate reaction.
We've got a picture of you here.
Oh, no.
There he is.
The photograph proves the comedy equivalent of an open goal as James, Jamie, Jack and co quickly fill their boots.
Your mum must have been the only woman to be given gas and air for the christening.
And even though Freddie's convinced that the snap isn't of him, his protestations only make things worse, as it's left to Jack Whitehall to have the final say.
It's amazing that you went into cricket and not the circus.
Number 7, Mr. Blobby steals the show, the big fat quiz of the 90s. Having earlier described Mr. Blobby as evil, Jack Whitehall's less than thrilled when the Knowles house party character appears for this big fat quiz finale, and chaos rules.
Please welcome, apologies Jack, Mr. Blobby. Oh.
After an over-enthusiastic hug, Jimmy Carr asks Blobby a rather personal question.
Is it true you had an affair with one of the Teletubbies?
And when Claudia Winkleman struggles with the highest grossing film of the 90s, he's on hand to give a generous clue. But if you thought this guy's entrance was impressive, and Jack certainly didn't, just wait until you see him leave. Number 6, Mack fluffs his lines, Would I Lie to You? It's facts and falsehoods next, as the Would I Lie to You panel try to convince each other that they are somehow related to a guest individual. Unfortunately, the story for this particular guest gets Mack into trouble from the off.
This is Ian. He is my supermarket delivery driver who accidentally got... I can't remember.
And though Rob Brydon tries to get him back on track, Mack knows that the game is up.
Perhaps you'd like to explain how you know Ian.
Never met him.
Eventually, Lee does get his words out correctly, but most of the material is fit only for the outtakes. And it seems his problem is contagious, as Rob comes a cropper too.
What is Lee to you? Not Lee, sorry.
Number 5, Preston Walks Out, Never Mind the Buzzcocks. Buzzcocks host Simon Amstel was renowned for ridiculing his guests, and Preston from The Ordinary Boys is his victim here.
That's correct. Am I allowed to say that?
I suppose you just did.
After teasing him mercilessly throughout the show, Amstel begins to read from the autobiography of Preston's then-wife, Chantel Horton.
The Paris Hilton work was a low point for me. It wasn't what I wanted to be doing, and on top of that, it caused me some real problems with my hair.
But judging by the look on Preston's face, it's fair to say he doesn't see the funny side.
Fun!
Fine.
Come on, Preston. Oh no, we can't lose Preston.
Amusingly, the other panellists make no effort to coax the singer back once he's bolted. Bill Bailey just replaces him with a lookalike audience member.
Look a bit surly, and every time he goes there, it's out of order.
Number 4, Can't Stop Swearing, Mock the Week. We are hitting the headliners section of this quiz as panellists ponder what the initials TFHC could stand for, and Frankie Boyle sets the tone for everything that follows.
Is it this f***er has cancer?
Unsurprisingly, Frankie's answer is incorrect, but the other panellists quickly catch the cursing bug.
We were told when we were sitting in here, when we all arrived and gathered together, we were told, listen, you kind of hit the limit on the last week.
And as the swearing reaches Gordon Ramsay levels, Dara tries to help the teams along.
Tories hospital.
Stop saying the F doesn't stand for
But there's little the host can do when this lot are in full flow.
Is it too fat, hairy cocks?
Number 3, Jimmy's tax evasion fallout, 8 out of 10 cats.
We can all now see why you work so hard. You get to keep all the money.
In 2012, Jimmy Carr made front page news for his part in a tax avoidance scandal. But the show must go on, and the 8 out of 10 Cats anchor hosted his next episode as usual. Only Sean Locke, John Richardson and the rest of the panel were ready with a long line of gags, gripes and ruthless comments.
We all like to put a bit of money away for a rainy day. Don't we? But I think you're more prepared than Noah.
Locke gives some helpful suggestions for Carr's potential change of career, while Richardson seems angriest of all. But to his credit, Jimmy takes it on the chin, offering no excuse for his actions.
I have apologised, Sean, and in my defence... No, I got nothing.
Number 2, David Blunkett's blindness mocked the week.
No, we answered the question without going on about Blunkett being blind.
During this Too Hot for TV feature, the Mock the Week producers specifically instruct the comics not to make jokes about David Blunkett being blind. Naturally, those guidelines are completely ignored, with Hugh Dennis leading the charge.
What unusual use for the army did David Blunkett allegedly suggest that when he was Home Secretary?
Did he suggest they should go to Specsavers?
Frankie Boyle immediately joins the fray for a relentless few minutes, which leaves Dara with the impossible task of maintaining a semblance of order.
Blunkett ordered troops to go in and machine gun prisoners, or he thought he was ordering it, he was actually talking to a hat stand.
Moral of the story? Never tell a comedian what they can and can't joke about. Number 1, Angus Deaton's humiliation, Have I Got News For You? In 2002, the then host of Have I Got News For You, Angus Deaton, was caught up in a cocaine-fueled scandal involving a prostitute at a hotel.
This has been one story of the week, isn't it? But the one I'm really interested in, Angus, is...
And it's not long before Ian Hislop and Paul Merton stick the boot in.
Now, you and this prostitute...
This episode sees the team captains take every opportunity to twist the knife deeper, jumping on everything Deaton says to make the ridicule even worse.
It says here that you played gangster rap on the stereo.
The host grins and bears most of the barrage, but by the end of the show, he looks desperate to get off stage.
Good night.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo UK and subscribe for more great content.